Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bacchus Bites. I apologize for being a little bit late. This is our first time doing this, so I really appreciate your patience. We're a small but mighty crew, and we're constantly learning new things. And this is a really exciting new step for Theater Bacchus, being able to come live to you with our actors actually preparing our dishes for our show. So this show is The Watsons, and we have a whole garden party of recipes. So each week I'm going to be hanging out with different castmates and showing you different fantastic recipes. So our first recipe tonight is actually a tea sandwich. And so I'm actually going to invite on this fabulous actor, Matt Lazaris-Brunner, who is playing our Lord Osborne. So welcome, Matt. Please log in. It'll be great to see you. Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me tonight to make this dish.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Okay, so I see you're already set up. That's fantastic. You actually were one of the first ones to jump at the chance to cook with us, and you seemed really excited about this sandwich.
Yeah, I like all the ingredients, and I like sandwiches. So
sandwiches are fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very convenient. They can go with just about anything, and offer a lot of opportunity for creativity as well.
Now, Matt, is this your first time doing a show at Theater Bacchus?
Yes, it is. So my first show at Theater Bacchus. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we're so happy to have you with the team. Now, since it's your first one with Theater Bacchus, what might we have seen you in as far as like local theater?
Well, I've done a number of productions at Village Theatre, Waterdown, and with some local groups around the Hamilton-Burlington area. As well as if you live in St. Catharines, I went to theater school in St. Catharines and was involved with multiple shows there.
Fantastic. And I mean, is this your first time doing voice acting for a radio play, or have you done voice acting in the past?
I've done some voice acting before, not for a radio play specifically. One was for a sprite-based video game, graphic novel, and the other is for a show that is stop motion animation, and that is actually coming out for the Hamilton Fringe this summer.
So you've got a whole plethora of experience when it comes to performing in the community or after.
I certainly have some experience under my belt.
Do you have as much talent in the kitchen as you seem to have on the stage?
No, definitely not. Most of my cooking it just consists of various ways to heat up pieces of meat and then seasoning said meat, and that's generally the majority of what I do in the kitchen.
You got the basics down. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, then this sandwich, which I would probably describe as quite bougie, is probably going to be a little bit fancier than what you typically prepare, but still, I think you're really going to enjoy it. So why don't we get started? The first thing we need to do is actually get all our herbs prepared. So do you have like your chive and your parsley and everything?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, let's get those chopped up to start. So
okay.
I'm just breaking some of mine up. I'm so glad we're doing this time of year because I have all these fresh herbs available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just giving these a quick chop. I know it roughly says that you need about like half a tablespoon of parsley and about a tablespoon of chives. I want to point out, if you like chive better, if you like parsley better, if you like dill better, you can play around with the flavors. This is my favorite ratio, but you could even add other herbs in it, like rosemary or basil. But I just find these particular herbs are quite fresh.
That smells good. It smells good.
So I've got here. I also grabbed some of my I have all my edible flowers. For anyone who's been following Theater Bacchus, all of our photos, you may have noticed a lot of these little flowers. These are dahlias. You can actually eat these. I don't know how many people would want to eat them because they're quite large, but it is an edible flower. So I'm going to be dressing mine up with these. But I believe you showed me a photo earlier of your tray. You have a gorgeous like crystal tray for your tea sandwiches today, which I'm quite impressed by.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted a little bit of searching just to see what I had, and saw that one and I thought it was perfect.
So, I mean, you've done stage acting and you've done voice acting. What do you find performance-wise is like the biggest difference between like when you're prepping to do something on stage versus when you're doing voice acting for recordings?
Well, depending on what kind of voice acting you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
both the rehearsal process and the recording process, it's a lot more stop and go than a performance, a live performance anyway. And you sort of have to really keep in mind the moment before and what's going on, and you have to find that impulse every time you're on, right? Things don't flow into each other the same way. And the other thing too is to remember to keep your body engaged. It's for the ultimate effect of vocal expression, but the body is the instrument from which the voice flows. So not forgetting that your body is heavily involved in all aspects of performance.
I guess some people might assume because they can't see you that you might just be like chilling out on the couch, like kind of lounging, just kind of like saying the lines, right? Like,
no,
there's still very much a physicality to it.
Yes, it's keeping things like proper posture and keeping the airway open and just allowing your voice to be free and tensionless. It's all part of the process, both in live performance and in voice acting.
So how long has it been since you've done like a live performance, like an in-person performance? Because we've all kind of been missing that since the pandemic.
Well, it's been a little longer for me. I'd say probably 2.5, 3 years.
2.5, 3 years. Are you
Yeah.
looking forward to doing in-person performances again, or?
Oh yes, definitely. It's just a whole other level of connectivity between both your co-workers and your audience, and there's just so many more options for storytelling, and having the physical variety as well as vocal variety it's like being able to use every tool in your toolbox.
Yes.
As opposed to just hyper specific, focused on one aspect.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, there's something about just the in between the rehearsal process and the performance process, standing behind the curtain with your colleagues, and that time you get to spend in between, like at rehearsals. That's part of the fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and it's much more difficult these days, over Zoom or whatever technology you're using to rehearse with, because there's just not the same. You can't. There's something to being in the room with somebody else, and forming that connection between the cast.
Yeah, it's just that much more meaningful. It's always more meaningful to connect in person. My hope is eventually we can do theater Bacchus and have people in the kitchen with me. But
that would be awesome.
So we need about a tablespoon of chives chopped. We need half a tablespoon of the chopped parsley, and then we need half a tablespoon of chopped dill. If you've got a little more, not a big deal. It's okay to make extra cream cheese mixture. It's honestly pretty good just with crackers on its own. But then the other thing we need to do is juice our lemon. And I'm so happy to see you have an actual lemon.
I do.
So for people at home, if you're going to use a lemon, I just want to show everyone a real quick trick to get the most of your lemon. Just like humans, lemons need massages. So if you take your lemon and actually put it on the counter and actually just roll it from like the palm to your wrist, it actually breaks up all of the fiber on the inside and actually helps you to get more juice out of that lemon.
Okay.
So I usually give it like 3 or 4 good rolls just on like from palm to wrist. And what you'll find is then you don't have to squeeze as hard when you're trying to get the lemon juice out. Yeah, I see you've got like a proper juicer there. I've got my Buffy the Vampire Slayer reel. Still works. So I'm just gonna start juicing my lemon as well. The only problem is you gotta like pick all the seeds out afterwards, right?
Yeah. With yours, mine has a little seed catcher.
Oh, yours has a fancy
Right
little
here.
trap. See,
Yeah.
I gotta upgrade my basic juicer. All right, up to the side here. I'm gonna now you're gonna be done way faster than me because I gotta pick all these seeds out.
That's okay. I think I might need to chop a few more chives. So
That's okay. So do you so you said that you like cook a lot of meat at home. Like is there like a go-to, like are you like into steak or like do you like barbecue chicken or
steak, although don't have steak too often. But mostly like pork and chicken, and it cooked in various ways, whether it's barbecued or maybe roasted in the oven. Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, especially this time of year. It's barbecue season. There's lots
Oh
of
yeah.
fantastic marinades out there that you can do. And so if you were gonna be throwing, besides doing obviously the Bacchus Bite recipes, if you were gonna like throw your own party, like a tea party like they do with the Watsons, what would be like your dish to impress everybody? Is it gonna be some sort of barbecued meat or do you have something else up your sleeve?
Well, haven't made them in a little while, but I do have a recipe for handmade scones. For
Oh,
scones,
scones.
yeah.
Oh, I love scones. Those are fantastic. So what I'm gonna do while you're finishing chopping up your herbs, I'm gonna just take my tablespoon of chopped chives and I'm gonna throw it in with the juice from my half a lemon. And I'm gonna throw my parsley in that bowl as well, because I'm just gonna mix it all together with the cheeses anyway. So there's no point messing up another dish.
Yeah.
Throw my dill in. So you can just, once you've got your juice, just basically start dumping all of your herbs into that same bowl. And because I love to cook, obviously that's why I'm doing this for Theater Bacchus, but I hate doing dishes. Like,
Yeah.
I just wish I could do like a I Dream of Jeannie thing and like they would just like vanish and then it would be cleaned up. That's my dream. To have self-cleaning dishes. Dishwasher's not even enough. Okay. So I've got my juice, I've got my herbs, and you've got your goat cheese and your cream cheese, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. How are you doing? Have you got all your herbs chopped or do you still need another minute?
No, I have them chopped, just measuring them out.
Oh, we also need to zest the lemon. Yes. Okay. So I threw out my other lemon, so I'm gonna use the other half of mine. So I have my like little zester. If you can't zest, if you don't have a zester, it's okay, guys. The reason I like using the zest on the lemon is that there's a lot of natural oils in the lemon itself, and it gives way more lemon flavor than the juice does. You have to use way more juice to get the same lemon effect, and it just makes things way too sour. So I always, and you don't have to go like crazy with it. You just want to get a little bit off of the edge of it.
Okay.
It's terrible when I forget the steps in my own recipes.
So for the lemon zest, I have a grater here. So,
that's perfect. Just use the really, really fine side, like the finest side that it has, like wherever the smallest holes are.
oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah. So whichever side has the smaller holes, use that side.
Okay.
I find most graters have like the big side for like slicing, and then the smaller one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like I said, you don't need a lot.
I'm just trying to make sure I get some.
Yes, perfect. So just a reminder to people that are watching, so far we've got half of the lemon's worth of juice, we've got our lemon zest, we've got our tablespoon of chopped chives, we've got half a tablespoon of our finely chopped parsley, and then we've got our chopped dill as well. So there's a lot of flavors going on in here.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is just one layer of this.
Okay.
All right. So I'm grabbing my cheese here as well. So Matt, tell me a little bit about your character in the show, without giving too much away, of course, because we want people to be intrigued by what everybody's up to in the show.
Well, I play Lord Osborne, and so the Osborne family is the resident noble family at Stanton, and they live in Osborne Castle. And Lord Osborne is a young man in his early 20s who has the title and everything, but he lives with his stepmother, Lady Osborne, and his sister, Miss Osborne. And he is essentially, he's not the most socially confident person, but he does his best to fulfill his duties while taking every opportunity to get away from large social gatherings as possible.
So he's the first guy to leave the party then, basically. Like,
Oh, yes.
he's gonna be the one that comes to the tea party, he says hello, and immediately like goes to the first opportunity he has.
Yeah, oh, what's that over there? That's an interesting tree.
So like a pandemic would be pretty perfect for him, right? Like
oh yes. I mean, yeah, it would be pretty fun. And I mean, he's got a huge house, so no problem staying at home all day.
Yeah, quarantining at home would be okay for him.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're gonna do to our bowl is we're gonna add in our 3 ounces of cream cheese and 3 ounces of goat cheese. I find it's warm enough now that they should be fairly warm on the counter. For people that are making this at home, you definitely want to leave it out on the counter for a couple of minutes before you try to mix it. I find that like cream cheese is so hard when it first comes out of the fridge, it's very difficult to mix together. But if you just let it sit on the counter, it becomes much more spreadable, and it's much easier to kind of blend everything together. So we just threw that into the bowl with all of our herbs, and we're just gonna blend this together. And then we have our fancy herbed cream cheese. It gets easier after this.
I might use a fork at the beginning just to.
That's a good idea. It'll definitely help mix it together better. I'm trying the 2-spoon technique, and it's not working as well as I would have liked.
Oh yeah, this is working much better.
You're doing a little more efficiently than me. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna see. You're teaching me. I'm gonna grab the fork. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's way better.
Yeah, it's the fork helps like break up the cheese a little bit, and then it's easier to blend together.
Yeah.
Everything.
Here I am, sucker with a spoon. There we go.
That smells really good right now, actually.
I know, right? It's just like lemon herb. It's super fresh. So this is our first component. And now that we got all this chopped up, we can kind of clear our cutting boards out of the way, and we can get all of our stuff to assemble our sandwiches. We need our bread. We need our.
Okay.
Oh no! Wait! No! Hold up! I'm wrong.
Nope.
We still got the cucumbers.
Oh right. Makes sense. Makes sense.
I didn't even people. My goodness. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut my cucumber in half here. We just need to get some like really thin slices. So this is like your classic tea sandwich component, right? The goat cheese with the cucumber. So I like to get it really, really thin if I can. So I'll just show you that. I'm going like, if you can get it this thin. Here, I'm gonna come up to the camera so you can see.
Okie dokie.
If you can get it that thin. I mean, I find when I do these, I need roughly about like 6 cucumbers for one sandwich. Just, and again, it's the size of my bread. If your bread's bigger, you may find you need a little bit more. So I find half a cucumber is usually enough for this.
So, sorry, 6.
Just basically thinly slice up, probably about half a cucumber. Should give you more than enough. I find the cucumbers this time of year are so like oversized. The whole cucumber, you'll be eating cucumber all week.
Right, right.
Or you're gonna have to do like a spa facial and put them on your eyes every night. So, I mean, I totally agree with you that sandwiches are amazing. Like I think I probably have a sandwich almost every day of some form. But like, what is your favorite sandwich? Like,
Oof. I like this. As I've already established, I'm a bit of a meat guy, so I like to make a roasted chicken, bacon, and either Gruyere or Jarlsberg cheese, and I put that on a baguette, like half of a baguette, and with some like thick Caesar dressing.
oh my God. See, you
and then put it in the press, and yeah.
See, you've been deceiving me this whole time. You already made bougie sandwiches. Like that's fancy. I mean, it sounds amazing, but like that's a high-end sandwich right there.
I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, that actually sounds fantastic. Here I am. This is so funny considering how many fancy dishes I make. Honestly, my favorite thing is actually just a grilled cheese. Like with lots of different cheeses in it, but I love grilled cheese. Which makes me sound like I'm like a toddler, but I don't know. There's just something about classic crispy grilled cheese that just makes me so happy.
And do you dip it in ketchup?
I could lie and say I don't, but I totally do.
Yeah.
unless it's really fancy, like if it's got like pears and blue cheese, like that's just not gonna work, right?
Right.
Classic cheddar cheese. Yeah, I need me some ketchup. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think I may have to trade up to your sandwich because yours is way more exciting than mine.
It's very filling too, so you
yeah. Oh my God, no, yours is like a meal. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right, I've got my cucumbers. I've got my cheese. How are you doing? You got your cucumber all set?
Yep.
We need our smoked salmon and then brioche bread. So for anyone who doesn't know what brioche bread is like an egg bread. It's kind of on the sweet side. Makes fantastic French toast. You can buy it ready-made. It's got this beautiful golden crust on it. And I find for this sandwich, it's amazing, Matt, because like you get this like sweet note with all the savory components, and it works. It works so well. So this part's it's just assembly. And given that we're both like avid sandwich lovers, I feel like this part's going to be simple, right? We're just going to take our sandwich bread. We're going to take a little bit of our cheese, spread that on, and then we're going to layer our cucumber next, and our smoked salmon goes on top of that. So I
got the
cheese. Cameraman, do you mind zooming in here just so people can kind of see what the assembly looks like? I'm gonna zoom on in here.
Okay, so I'm just gonna push these cucumbers off a little bit.
So I'm basically just kind of like layering them on top here for everyone to see. Yes,
Oh, nice.
there we go. And then I'm just going to put a layer of smoked salmon on top of that. So just show.
So what would you say is a layer of smoked salmon?
Just like a single layer. I know it's tempting to like put so much more.
Yeah.
But cheese sandwiches are not meant to be hefty. They're meant to be delicate. So we can't be going crazy as tempting as it is. We also don't want to run out of smoked salmon before we get to the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So honestly, what I usually do, because I usually mess it up and I use too much either cheese or smoked salmon, I'll kind of set them aside. Or if you want to kind of get your assembly done ahead, what you do is once you got your top on, right? Then you're gonna cut the very edges off.
Okay.
I usually have like a scrap bowl where I put the edges and I eat those afterwards because it's usually
Okay.
bits of smoked salmon and cheese and bread, and it's pretty delicious to eat. Waste not, want not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want that perfect square for your cheese sandwich. And then
Oh, good. This the salmon I have is just so soft that it's just
it's just kind of falling apart. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in again on this cheese sandwich here, just so people can see what I've done? So you can see I've just kind of cut perfect little square here, and then I'm gonna cut it on the diagonal. And then this is what you're aiming for, Matt.
Pardon? Oh my God, that is awesome. Okay, I'm going for it.
All right, I'm gonna just put these on the tray, and then I'm gonna keep going here.
Okay.
So what I've loved about what Theater Box has been doing is they've been doing classic, kind of classic authors, those timeless authors. We've had Sherlock Holmes, we've had Edgar Allan Poe, and now we have Jane Austen. What do you think it is about Jane Austen that's so timeless that people are like still obsessed with things like Pride and Prejudice and all of her works? What is it about it that you think makes her stand out?
She writes about people who are struggling to find their own agency in their society's social pressures, whether they be class-based, gender, economy, which isn't always the same as class. So I think she has a very good understanding of how people are shaped by their individual societies, and she goes the step to write characters that dare to be different and fight against that and find their own agency within society's expectations.
I love that. And that's such a classic theme that so many people could resonate with, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
remind me, when does the show go up again? Because we should probably talk about that.
Yeah, probably. So it premieres on August 5th and goes through the 7th, and then it also airs on the 13th and 14th of August as well.
Fantastic. So there's lots of different times people could.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to I guess hear the show. So
wonderful. And there's also going to be some fantastic artwork, I understand, and like images that play along with the show. So
oh yeah,
kind of that visual experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every ticket comes with a musical performance by some local musicians. One of which is Carla Zabak, who plays Lady Osborne, my character's stepmother in the show. So.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, it's going to be a fabulous garden party between the food and the music, and of course, all of your fabulous performances. I'm very excited to listen in myself.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say every rehearsal I get more and more excited about. So.
It must be interesting rehearsing online on Zoom. Like it's a very different experience, I imagine. Do you guys even see each other when you're rehearsing?
No, we don't actually. So the idea is to keep us focused on using our voice to the maximum effect, and all we have to listen to is each other's voices, and so we don't rely on our physicality for expressiveness, and instead we focus on what the audience would be perceiving, which is our voices. So we rehearse online, but we turn the cameras off when we run through things.
So you guys literally don't see much of each other at all then?
No, we don't. But it seems to be working, so I won't complain.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I have to say, smoked salmon is probably one of my favorite foods, so it's very hard not to like just sit here and eat it, but considering there are people watching us, I'm trying really hard to behave right now.
Yeah. This is gonna be, I think, dinner for me. So
yeah, I mean, you could definitely make a dinner out of these. Like it's got all your food groups. You got dairy and meat and bread and vegetables. It's all there.
Yep. And
so I may not have your fancy Christmas tray, but I did bust out my my little platform here. Just
that looks nice. That looks really nice.
thank you. And I have to say, if there's one thing I've learned from doing this particular theme show is that if you put flowers on things, it always looks good. So yeah, I'm putting a few flowers in here to dress it up.
I have.
Honestly, in my research for this particular show, I was blown away at how many different flowers you can eat. Like, do you know you can eat hostas? And they're everywhere, but apparently they're kind of like asparagus. I mean, I wouldn't go outside and like eat the hostas out of your backyard right now, but apparently early in the spring you can.
Nice. You can also eat the dandelion leaves and rose petals.
I have had rose petals before, for sure. Those are actually quite tasty.
Mm-hmm. So I don't have flowers, so
that's
I'm just
okay.
I'm just gonna take my lemon.
I think it's time we actually like eat some of these, don't you?
Oh yeah.
My God. Yours look fantastic, Matt. I love it. Okay.
Thanks.
Moment of truth. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Here.
Here. Yeah. You know, the lemon really helps contrast sort of the heavier elements from the fish and the cheese.
Yeah. There's just it's just that right balance of kind of everything. Sweet, the savory.
Yeah. Yeah, and the bread, because we're using the brioche bread, that sweetness just adds another layer.
Well, Matt, I want to thank you so much for coming on the air with me for our first ever live cooking session for Bacchus Bites. You were fantastic, and your sandwiches look amazing. Do you want to just remind everybody again, like when the show is and how they can get tickets?
Yeah. So the show is premiering on August 5th and runs from the 5th through the 7th, and then the 13th and 14th. And you can get your tickets at theaterbacchus.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Matt. And
Thank you for having me.
for everyone who's watching, we're going to be back again next week, where we're going to be with Peter Cherry with another fantastic recipe. So be sure to tune in. I look forward to cooking with you all through the month, and be sure to check out the show. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.